Sorry, double.
Mate, how much did you make your money back on the scratch?
Is it working then still?
You're mad.
Okay. Just something I heard last week, and it carries on into this week. We know with the mon and the water, with the mon and the water, Ellie, listen to this, Ellie. With the mon and the water, Claudius had to do a bit of ishtadlus. You had to go out and collect your mon and go out and collect your water. There was one benefit in the midbar where you didn't have to do anything at all. Didn't do anything. Just happened more or less automatically. And that was, if you wanted to dry clean your clothes or have a shower, you just went for a walk, walked into the clouds, and walked out, cleaned and you'd had a shower.
What's wrong with the laundrette?
There were no laundrettes, were
How do you
there?
know?
Because I was in the honour.
He knows.
How do you know they didn't have washing machines in those days?
Yeah, you're right.
Connected to the electric.
Yeah. There was a lot of golden bullion in the midbar, for sure. So,
Any Goldman dad paid for?
so why is it? It's interesting. I've never thought about it before. So the mon and the mayim, you had to go and pick up a little bit. You had to do something. Then you went and took it home and enjoyed it. But your clothes which grew with you, and they got dry clean, free of, you didn't have to fold it, you didn't have to iron it, nothing. Unbelievable this.
So what were women there for?
Listen to this. So he said like this, he said the water, they complained before they got it. The mon, they also complained we got no bread before they got it. They never ever complained about the clothes or about, lack of washing. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it them without any effort at all. The mon and the water would have been the same as well. It would have been like that as well. But because they complained prior to getting it, so they had to do some ishtadlus. Then I came across a medrash. Don't you think a unbelievable medrash?
Yeah.
In Parshas Chukas, it said they sang Shira on the well. What was the Shira? Anyone know the Shira?
No.
It said Ali Be'er Enullah. They sang Shira. Like I said, Oz Yoshia, the Yamsuf, Eli, they sang Shira for the well.
Not one of the 10 sheets.
So they sang, I think it is. I think it is. So how come they never sang Shira for the Mon? This is Pakal Pakal. This medrash is unbelievable. Idan, listen to this medrash. It said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, the water, after you got it, you never complained about it. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu was happy to hear them singing Shira about, thank you for the water. The Mon, Eli, after they got the Mon, they complained about it. They said, they complained about the Mon. Because Baruch Hu said, you complained about the Mon, I don't want to hear any Shira about the Mon. I don't want to hear you say thank you, I'm not interested. This is Pakal B'Chodim. It made me think about this. So Kosh Baruch Hu does not accept a thank you and a praise on a gift he's given you, right? Think how much your parents have done for you. And Lamaisa, let's be honest, we put our foot in it big time, or many times, with what we should give back to our parents. So who knows in Shamayim, when we do Kibbud Avayim, how much it's worth? Maybe, after being not grateful and complaining with what we do, maybe then in Shamayim, the Kibbud Avayim after that is not very well accepted. Because it's coming after complaining about something or belittling a gift which HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't accept the halal, doesn't accept the shira on it. It's quite incredible medrash. It carries on the idea into this week's Hedra. When they got to Hasina, the first thing HaKadosh Baruch Hu said was, I want you to think about all I've done for you in Mitzrayim. Before you makabel the Torah. Eli.
Yeah.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, I want you to be appreciative of what I gave you. Because I'm about to give you another gift. The gift of the Torah. So that's why it's called Matan Torah. It's a gift. David. Yeah, it's called a gift. So Kosh Baruch said, look, if you don't appreciate the gifts I've already given you, you're not going to appreciate this one either. So therefore, Kosh Baruch related, the first thing he did, he told Moshe Rabbeinu to speak to the people about what they've seen in Mitzrayim. But let's have a look at the build-up to Matan Torah. Let's have a look at the build-up. So Revi, it says as follows. B'chodesh HaShlishi, on Rosh Chodesh, now we call it Sivan. It wasn't called Sivan in the Torah. Why not? In the Torah, you don't get any names of days of the week other than Shabbos, and you don't get any names of the month, and even the years, it's given a number. So the Ramban explains, because Nisan, what we call Nisan, is called Chodesh HaRishon. And why is it called Chodesh HaRishon? Because that's the first month from counting Yetzias Mitzrayim. So the Torah wants us to count the months constantly, remembering Yetzias Mitzrayim. So it's got a number. Same with days of the week. It's Hayom Yom Rishon of Shabbos. So the Torah wants you to remember Shabbos all week, so you count with the cheshbon of Shabbos every day. You get some people, it really, I don't know, it gets on my peak. On Friday, do a good Erev Shabbos. I don't know why, it just really, I don't know, it's an Erev Shabbos, but I don't know what it is. It's not the name of the day. It's not really the name of the day, is it?
It's their way of Mikdash Shabbos.
Is it the Park Yiddish? You mean it's like a day to get ready for Shabbos?
Oh, I'm so tired of
It's a
Schwalbe.
big thing to call it, yeah?
Time, is that right?
Erev Shabbos, the big thing to call it. I got an Erev Shabbos. Yeah? Yeah, it's a big thing. Oh, okay.
You're fine by the honkies. They all do that.
They do it? Yeah? Well, you do as well? Even on Friday morning, you wish it
Not the morning, afternoon.
in the afternoon, right? After Chatzos. So maybe it's different then. So after that, you're always holding there. So, okay. Anyway, so he said, so the numbers therefore are, so remember the Shabbos, and remember Yetzias Mitzrayim. The names of Nisan, Iyar, Sivan are from Bovel. They're first mentioned in Megillas Esther. It's the first time you get it. The Babylonian names. So why was it adopted in the Bayis Sheni to call it Nisan, Iyar, Sivan, Tammuz? Same idea. To remember, we came out of Golos Bovel. The Ramban says that. So, but the Torah only gives it a number. So, B'chodesh HaShlishi, Ravi, l'seis b'nei Yisrael me'eretz Mitzrayim, Bayom hazeh, on this day, that's it's named after the season, yeah. It's the Chodesh in the spring. Has to be in the spring. Well, it's called Chodesh Av because the spring has to fall in Nisan. You can't have Pesach if it's not in the spring, yeah? So it's stressing where it wants Pesach, yeah. Yeah, it's a good point.
That's the routine of the Arabs as well, but they can have their Eids on any time of year.
All around the year, because she keeps on shifting, yeah.
That's different.
That's different. We got to keep it in sync with the seasons.
Other shapes.
Yeah. Okay. So it says Bayom hazeh.
Okay.
On this day, Ba'u Midbar Sinai, they came to Har Sinai. So what's Bayom hazeh? It should be Bayom Hahu, on that day. So Rashi brings an incredible chazal, and this is a key. This is a key to the beginning of Kabbalah Torah. So Rashi says like this: it should have written on that day. Ma'u Bayom hazeh, sheyiyu divrei Torah chadoshim olecha. Words of Torah should be new and fresh, ki'ilu hayom nitnu, as if they were given today. Now, when you get a new pair of shoes or a new item of clothing, yeah, there's a certain wow factor, yeah, the first time you put it on. When you make a shechiol on certain things, yeah, because there's a big wow. It used to be when you bought it. Now we don't get a big simcha after buying because we buy so much. So it's when you wear it, yeah, that's what it should be. But there's a certain wow factor on something new for the first time, or something acquired new for the first time. So now, an item of clothing or a new car or a new whatever it is, new watch, it's automatically new. But how, Ari, how are we going to make the Torah, which was given 3,300 years ago, new every single day? How are you going to do it?
There's so much.
It's old. It's very old. Right? So how, the Torah is old, so how, Chaim, are we going to do it? How are you going to make it new with something which is not new, and you learned it yesterday, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before, and you're a man of 95, you've done it for 90 years, how do you make it new?
You can't get fed up of it because there's so much different.
Go on. So, okay, that's if you're learning new things, that's true.
They say that if you learn, find a new thing, another thing you learned already, so somebody learned.
So one shot is, there's no such thing, I've learned it before. Because every time you learn something again, you'll spot something you never spotted before. It's a fact. It's something quite incredible. Quite
Ain't
incredible.
no? Is that anything? Learning something every day new.
I'm not sure there, but it's, so Lamaisa, well, you say anything, whether it's a Mishnah, a piece of Gemara, a piece of Chumash, anything. Lamaisa, you learn it again and again. Your eye starts to spot things. Now, what's going on? What actually happens, David? You learn a Mishnah again and again and again, or a piece of Chumash again and again, and all of a sudden you start seeing things which you didn't see last time. Now, why is that? You got the same pair of eyes. It's the same person. What's going on? You will not believe what's going on. Unbelievable. It's a Gemara. It's a Gemara Sahedji. The Torah, every time you learn it, asks permission from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, can I reveal to him some more? It's a Gemara Sahedji. Right? And that's why each time you do it, that's why Chazor is so important. It's not to remember it. You might have a photographic memory. Rabbi Yosef, you learned it once, never forgot it. Yeah? But you probably went through Shas 500 times at least, or 1,000, or whatever, how many times. Sorry, right? And each time, what's happening is that your neshama is going through it again, and the Torah is revealing to you another layer, and that's Taka Limitless.
Is that what? Sorry, that time I thought. Was that what Koloshena Halacha is? Is that what it's saying?
Kolosh Halachas is because you'll put them into practice. If you learn them every day, you guarantee they'll my bar because you'll put them into practice. Yeah. So Chazal say amazing things. A very famous Gemara that you can't compare someone who learns something 101 times to 100. So why not? Why not? So you see, it's not for memory. Memory, you know it. The answer is the 101st time things were revealed to you, which were not revealed to you after 100 times. So you can't compare the two. So the truth is, you could say between 70 and 71, 40 and 41, the same thing. So what's the significance of 100 and 101? So the Ben Yoda says, I saw the Cham Sofer, he says the same idea. He was before the Ben Yoda, so it must be Yodua to people who know what's going on in the world. He said that the Malach appointed over Shikha, over forgetfulness, is the Samach Man, which is Gematria 100. He's only got a Shlita up to 100 times. If you do 101, now you can never forget it. So there's ain't a doma, that's why there's a threshold. But in terms of learning, the difference between 1 and 2, 84, 85, 176, 177, it's ain't a doma, because new things are revealed to you. So the truth is, every time you learn, it's taka brand new. It's taka brand new. So that's one pshat. Another pshat is, as of today, I've not learned anything yet. Life is not, let's say you lived to 120. Rafi, how many days are there in 120 years? About 43,000 days. Yeah? It's not that many. Yeah? 43,000 days in 120 years.
120 years?
Yeah.
43,800.
Yeah, 43,800. So the fact I learned yesterday has no bearing in a way on today. As of today, I've not learned any Torah today. This is new, fresh learning today. Okay, I've got to put my imprint of my Torah learning on today. Okay, each day is like a slideshow, and each day's got to have some Torah learning on it. So you've got to do every single day. It's got to have that imprint. So as of today, it's taka brand new. As of today, if you talk about my life, it's a kubba, you can say, I've learned it. But as of today, it is also, it can be brand new. But this is the, what's the word? The be-all, end-all of inspiring people in Torah learning and inspiring people is done with this enthusiasm. The enthusiasm of Ischachos is the key to learning it yourself. It keeps you interested, and also handing it over to other people. Because if it once you ask anybody to look back in school, yeah, whose lessons do they remember? That one was boring. That's what he said. It was boring. But that teacher, oh no, that was very interesting. So what did that teacher know more than that teacher? The one gave it over with a brand, with enthusiasm. He gave it over with this thing, this new concept he was teaching you, and it came over with enthusiasm, came over with his chachas, it made an impact on you. But what came across as old scholar doesn't have the same impact. Knowledge-wise, it might be the same, but the impact, and then once you get, I spoke to him, he's a friend once, he came here to Manchester a few years ago, so I asked him about, learning with boys, and he says to me, he's big American, he's enormous actually, how big he looks on screen, he's bigger in real, and he says to me, enthusiasm is contagious. And that's it. That's the be-all end of it. So when something's new, it's got enthusiasm. You wear your shoes, your Nike trainers for the first time, it's with enthusiasm. You get picked for Juventus, you're brought on as a sub for the first time. Yeah, what's the big stick? Oh, Hischadshus, you've finally been picked. They finally think you're good enough. Yeah? So Hischadshus is the key. That's the first thing of Kabbalah Satorah is you've got to keep that freshness. Keep that freshness going. You'll find actually great Tzaddikim, you know, they defied their age. They had energy beyond their age. Right? You find there were old men in the 80s, 90s, and yet they were up at Vasikin and learning to later in the night and whatever. How did they do it? Teretz is they maintained their hischadshus. It was always fresh, it was always new, and therefore the energy came with it. Okay, so now he moves on. Vayisu merafidim, vayavoyu midbar Sinai. So they journeyed away from Refidim, and they came to Midbar Sinai. Vayachanu b'midbar, they camped in the desert. Vayichan shom Yisrael neged ha. Again, the Torah is giving us 3 more pieces of information which are paramount to Kabbalah Satorah. What are they? Unbelievable. Says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh. Refidim, Ari, what does the name Refidim mean? Rafui means loose. Okay? So it says, Vayisum Refidim, they changed their attitude. In Refidim, it says they weakened their attachment to Torah learning, right? They was casual, a bit more casual, didn't take it seriously. So the first thing was Vayisum Refidim, they journeyed away from that attitude, understanding I'm going to have to put effort into it, Eli. Number 1. Number 2, to learn Torah, you've got to have humility, you've got to be an honor, because you've got to be a Kabbalah from your Rebbe. If you think you know better than your Rebbe, you won't listen to him, because I know better.
I do actually know better.
Yes, Eli. It's a problem.
Actually, not better than you.
It's a big problem, Eli. But yeah, some things you might do. So then it says, Vayavo midbasi, vayachnu b'midbar. What's a desert? A desert is nothing but flat sand. There's no big buildings in the desert. There's no big things to see there. A tree here, a tree there maybe. A desert symbolizes, says the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, humility. Why was Moshe Rabbeinu, Eli, why is Moshe Rabbeinu Mekabel more Torah than anybody else in the history?
Moshe Rabbeinu is Moshe Rabbeinu.
Because he was the biggest Onav. So he was the biggest Mekabel. Right? We haven't got that level of Anivas, so we haven't got that capacity of Kabbalah which Moshe Rabbeinu had. And then the third one was very beautiful. Vayichan shom Yisrael neged ha Rafi. It says, Ki'ish echad b'leiv echad, you need a chavrusa. You've got to get on with your friends if you want to be successful in Torah learning. Eli, why do you have to have friends?
You don't.
You can't learn a Gemara without a chavrusa. Not properly. You get stuck in it, he helps you out. He gets stuck in it, you help him out. You've got to get on with each other. You've got to get on with each other. Now, this was so strong, because I'll point out this was the one time in the 40 years in the desert, Klal Yisrael reached this level. A level of achdus. So when Hashem said, do you want the Torah? David, what did they say? Kol Hashem Dibei Hashem,
Yes.
Na'aseh v'nishma. They spoke in the plural. Now, how could they say Na'aseh v'nishma, Eli? Should have said, Eseh, I will do. Each one should have said, I will do what I'm supposed to do. The answer is no, they understood the Torah can only be kept if we're all in it together. There are times when you need help, there are times when he needs help. And the Meshech Chochmah says something beautiful, he adds on to it. He said, no one person can do all the mitzvahs himself. Some mitzvahs apply to Kohanim, some to Leviim, some to the Melech, some to Sanhedrin, some to women, some to men. Okay? So he said it's only possible to keep the entire Torah if it's Na'aseh v'nishma. So Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky told over this beautiful story. He was asked to faher a young class in school, in Torah V'das. So he came in, and there were 7-year-old boys. He came in with a bag of chocolate for the boys. And he asked this question. He said, how could they say Na'aseh v'nishma in the plural? They should have said Eseh v'eshma. So the boys didn't know the answer, so he said, who would like some chocolate? And every boy in the class shouted out, we want chocolate. So he said, hold on a minute, what's we want chocolate? How do you know your friend wants chocolate? How do you know? So he said, the answer is, because you know chocolate's gishmak, and you know you'll want a piece, and you know your friend wants a piece. So he said, that's the same thing with the Torah. He said, every Yid knew, every other Yid wants it. Because they knew it's the right thing, it's gishmak. Okay? So he said, that's why when you know that, then you can speak in the plural, you know you're speaking for yourself and for everybody else. Now, Moshe goes up the mountain. Moshe goes up the mountain, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu says to him, go down and speak to the women first and then the men. First you've got to get the women on board and then the men on board. So why is that? Why was that so important?
Because men like women. and to the copy women.
So they'll copy their wives? Okay, that's one medrash. Very interesting medrash.
They control their lives. They're the emotional part of the man.
Okay, okay. So listen to this medrash.
Yes, Mr. Fallowfield.
The medrash says, Hashem said, what happened when I made the world? I told Adam first, and Chava only found out second, and look what happened. Yeah? It crash landed.
No, but that's
So I'm not making it, I'm not doing that again.
But that's saying that Hashem made a mistake.
Not a mistake. It wasn't a mistake. So he said, this time I'm going to tell the women first, and then the men. I'm not having a repeat of that. Now, the Medrash Kai gives another reason, and it says, like David said, if you get the women on board, the women will encourage their husbands and their children to learn. Sorry?
Men are thirsty for women.
So what's that got to do with the Torah?
So they'll follow them.
They'll follow them. So it says like that. It says if you get the women on board, so they will encourage their husbands and encourage their children. And my mother told me her headmistress 70 years ago used to say to them, to educate a woman is to educate a family. If you get the woman on board, then you've got everybody on board. It's a practical thing.
I don't listen to women. I kick them in the head and whip them.
Okay.
Tie him up with handcuffs.
So
Kick Fluffy out.
So the Beis Halevi says something brilliant. And he says HaKadosh Baruch Hu Min Adin had to go to the women first, Ariel. Listen to this halacha. Min Adin, he had to go to them first. Listen to this. The halacha, what happens if you've got a property jointly owned by a husband and wife? And the husband wants to sell it.
And the woman
So we need two signatures, yeah? The husband's got to sign and the wife's got to sign. So the Gemara says, if the buyer goes to the husband first and he signs, and then he goes to the woman and she signs, she can turn around afterwards and say, I didn't mean it. I just did it to make my husband happy. But if he goes to the woman first and she signs first, she can't say that now because she's first signatory. Then he goes to the husband, then it's a valid sale. So says the Beis Halevi, that's what happened here. If Hashem would have gone to the men, do you want the Torah? They say, yeah. And then the women say, yeah. Later on they can say, we only did it to make our husbands happy. Didn't mean it. So he went to the women first, now it's their real choice. They said, yeah. And then he goes to the men, and now we've got a proper Kabbalah Sator. Who, the women? It was easier for them. All right. So the yeah. Right.
Okay, last time.
Right. So now, Schwalbe then gives part of the message, David, to Klal Yisrael. Listen to these words. It says, Atem Re'isem, you've seen, it's not a tradition, I'm not just making this up, you saw it yourselves, Asher Sisi Limitzrayim. That which I did to Mitzrayim, I carried you on the wings of a nesher. Ellie, what's a nesher?
Boat.
A boat.
An eagle.
An eagle, called to some. I brought you to me. So Rashi says, when was this? On the morning of Yetzias Mitzrayim, Klal Yisrael was scattered all over Goshen. But they had to get out quick. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought all of them together to Ramses. And then they travelled from Ramses to Sukkot, 120 kilometres, instantaneously, in a second. Because they were bordering on level 50, 49 and 50, they couldn't stay in any longer. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu took them out very, very quickly. So what's the significance of a nesher? So Rashi brings a chazal. Rashi brings a chazal who says like this, the nesher is the highest flying bird. So it carries its young on its wings. It doesn't carry them in its claws, its talons. Why? All of the birds are worried about a predator swooping in from higher up. It'll take its children off it. So it carries them in its claws. But the nesher is the highest flying bird, so there's no predator higher. All he's worried about is a hunter's arrow coming from below. So the nesher carries its young on its wings. That's the marshal of the nesher. Because Baruch Hu put the cloud between the Mitzrayim and the Yidden, and the Mitzrayim were firing arrows and firing rockets, or whatever they were firing, and the Onan absorbed it. Didn't let it go through to Klal Yisrael.
So you're saying it doesn't mean literally?
What?
Al-Kaf Shore means literally Al-Kaf Shore?
It's a reference to the animal they covered.
It's not literal.
No, that's what she said. It's a marshal. Yeah. So just like the eagle flies very quick, so it got them out quickly, and also protected its young, like an eagle protects its young. Now listen to this, Ellie. In the Gemara in Chulin, which talks about the kosher birds, So it says there's 4 simonim of a kosher bird. It says the nesher hasn't got any simon at all of a kosher bird. It's got no simon tara. And the Gemara talks about the eagle, that it's got no feathers on its head. So Tosfos says that everyone says the nesher is the eagle. The eagler. Tosfos says the eagler. Tosfos says it can't be, because one of the signs of it, the nesher, the Gemara says, is it's got no feathers on its head. All eagles have feathers except the bald-headed eagle, but all of the eagles have got it. So Tosfos says it's a vulture. It's the largest bird of prey in Eretz Yisrael with a wingspan of 10 feet, which is bigger than this table. Right? It's massive. So Tosfos says it's the vulture. Now, the one clue we've got about the nesher is, Chazal tell us it's the highest flying bird. Someone showed me in the Guinness Book of Records, amazing it. He said the highest recorded flight of a bird known is a bird Ellie collided with a plane at 38,000 feet. Enough feathers were left in the engine to identify it as a Ruppel's griffin vulture. It was a vulture. 38,000 feet. Right? So it fits in with Tosfos. Yeah, this piece of information about a highest flying bird being the vulture, not the eagle, it stems with Shittas Tosfos. As far as we know, that's the highest flying bird ever recorded. Quite incredible. 38,000 feet is about 7 miles up. It's almost out of the atmosphere almost. Okay. Now, then, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe to tell over one more piece of information. Now, this is very, very common. If you went to school and you had it easy and you learned Gemara well and you get to yeshiva, so you can cope. You can cope because you're quite well versed in learning Gemara. So it's a higher standard, a harder share. You're going to start learning 3 days with the Chavrusa, David. So you can cope. But many boys, I was like this as well. I was very lucky I had my older brother in yeshiva with me. It was tough. It was very, very tough. I wasn't good at learning Gemara. I could read it, I could translate it, but I wasn't good at working it out. I had some very brainy boys in my share. All the top guys from Hasmonean with my year, all brain boxes. And it was tough. It was tough. So you might get sometimes a little bit despondent, because Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu, tell them that's how it goes. Initially, till you get used to it, till you get into it, the new atmosphere is going to be tough, but it gets easier and easier. So listen to these words. It says, Va'ata now, im shamaya tishmu b'koili, if you listen to my voice, or shamartem es berisi, and you keep my covenant, ve'yisem li segula b'kolam, you'll be to me the treasure from all the people of the world, kili kol haaretz, the whole world is mine. So Rashi says like this, Im atzot tekablu aleichem, if you accept it upon yourself now, ye'oriv lachem, it gets easier, more geschmack, mikam va'elech. Shekal hascholas koshes, all new beginnings are tough. Till you get used to it, till you get into it, it's tough. Now, if you know that in advance, you won't get disheartened because it's going to plan. It's going to plan. If you want to be a member of an elite unit, they push you to the limit. They will absolutely push you to the limit of human endurance, but that toughens you up. So it's hard. It's difficult, but eventually you come out of it, it's super fit and super able to do things which you didn't know you could do beforehand. With new skills. That's the way it goes. So Reverend Brody out of Sholom had quite a funny thing he used to say. There's one exception to Kolas Cholas Koshes.
What's that?
Learning Mishnah Yomi. He said you start off with brachos. He said brachos is nice and easy Masechta. He said, then it goes to Peah and Zamar and Kilayim. It gets really tough afterwards. He said, but it starts off nice and easy, very geschmack with brachos. Even Daf Yomi starts off brachos Shabbos, then you get put into Eruvin, which is really tough. Nowadays you got the Alt Scroll, that helps a lot, right? But he said, there's very interesting, he used to say that Mishnah Yomi, he said, it's not Haskalas Koshus, it's very geschmack in the beginning, and the tough part comes a little later. Now, what is a segula? Can anyone tell me what's a segula? Hashem says, so you're going to be my segula. What's a segula? Eli, any idea? What's a segula? It's a segula for panosa. What's a segula? What does it mean? What's a segula for panosa? It's a segula for, I don't know, what do we say?
It's more easy to get.
Yeah? Is that mesugal? Is that what it means? What's a segula? You get a Chinese medication. It's a schooler for skin conditions. How does it work?
It helps.
I don't know. But put it on and you see it works. So segula is something, it works, but nobody can explain to you how it works. No one can tell you. Right? Non-conventional medication is they say take this and it's good for that. What's that? They can't tell you. They can't tell you. Yeah, they don't know why it's good for it, but the Mitzvah says it helps. That's a schooler. So says the Aracham HaKadosh, the Yishem Yiskulim Mikol Ami means there's going to be things which only a Jew can do. It will only work if you do it, and not if any other human being does it. How does that work? That's a schooler. Schooler, you don't know why it works like that. And he gives a few examples. Eli, is keeping Shabbos a good thing?
No.
Yes.
Is keeping Shabbos a good thing?
Yeah, it makes you connected.
Right? Keeping Shabbos is a good thing. But what, so, can a goy keep Shabbos?
No.
Is a goy allowed to keep Shabbos?
No.
Ariel?
No.
What's the din? Goy to Shabbos?
Get
Yes,
killed.
Chai Misa, yeah. Now, if Shabbos is a good thing to keep, so why can't a goy keep Shabbos? I'll give you another example. If I give you a bracha and say, Yivarach Hashem v'yishmerach Yashem ponu the poem, and you look good. Rafi says it. Because I did, but right. But if Rafi says it, it's poil. If I go up to the bimmer, do the almond in front and go like that, and you're over b'shleisha b'aseh. I've been over 3 mitzvahs aseh. Rafi goes and does it. He's mekayim 3 mitzvahs aseh.
Yeah, but it's like
So you
one
see,
person-
go on, Ariel.
it's like one person can like take medication, for example, and it'll make them better, and another person has got another.
Very good. So you see, it's masugul for him. Very good. Very good. So you see, he goes, that's how individual it can get. Have a segula for one person, and for another person, it might be a big mazik. Okay? Give me another example. Listen to this, the Aracham HaKadosh says. Machshava tova. Person has a good machshava to do a mitzvah. Yeah, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't finish off. He couldn't actually do it. He intended to do it. He went there to do it. The door was closed. Couldn't do it. Does he get the reward of the mitzvah or not? He does. He said, Machshava tova. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitzvah v'lamaisa. What about if a person thinks about doing an aveira,
No.
but he doesn't do it? He doesn't get punished. Yeah. Now hold on a minute. Is machshava kemaisa or machshava lav kemaisa? Which one is it? If machshava kemaisa, it should work with an aveira. If machshava lav kemaisa, it's not a maisa like with an aveira. How does it work with a mitzvah? Skula. That's a skula. We can't explain it.
Yeah.
And with a goy, it's paket. The Gemara says with a goy, the opposite. If he thinks about doing a mitzvah, doesn't do it, doesn't get the schar. He thinks about doing an aveira and didn't do it, he does get the punishment. The monisher, how does it work? Skula. That's the mitzvah. That's how it works, but we can't explain it. We can't explain it. There, actually, you could explain it a little bit, maybe. Because every yid wants to do a mitzvah, doesn't want to do an aveira. And the goy is the opposite. Doesn't really want to do the mitzvah and does want to do the aveira, but not everyone. I mean, I don't know if it works across the board. But it's a skula. So you see, there are things which only work if Klal Yisrael do it. Even though it's a good thing, if anyone else does it, it doesn't work. It's not poil. It doesn't work. It's Shemayim. If a goy would keep Shabbos, it's like a Chad Nisa. Even on a Monday. If you do it any other day of the week, even on a Sunday.
Because it's a bit.
You got to work the whole time. Yeah, they've got to work the whole time. So you see there's certain things, the Yisrael this school, they only work if you do it, if Klal Yisrael do it. Now, why did the Torah finish? Why did Hashem add Kili Kol Haaretz? You're only special if there were other people in the cheshbon, and Hashem chooses you, then you're chashuv. If there's no one else to compete with you, then it's a one-horse race. It's a one-horse race. So Kosh Baruch Hu saying, "V'yizim le'sigula mikol ha'amim," and don't think that doesn't mean you're only one contender. There's only one nation. No, Kili Kol Haaretz. The whole world is mine, and I am choosing you out of the rest of the world. I saw today a fantastic thought. You don't find anywhere in the Torah where the Torah says we are the best people.
Yeah.
It doesn't say we're the worst people. It doesn't say anywhere. It says we're the chosen people. Right? Hashem says we have a certain nature where we are most mesugal to keep the Torah. Of all the nations in the world, the one most, because of Kshei Oref, we don't give up through thick and thin, and we've got a strong rotzen to do the right thing from the Avos, inherited from the Avos HaKadoshim. So therefore, yeah, So God, that's what says, He doesn't say, you'll be the best. Yeah, but for what I want to be a nation in this world who will teach the world about the Ratzon Hashem and Emunah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you, Klal Yisrael, you're most struggle for it. You're the ones who've got this segula, and I'm choosing you out there. But it doesn't mean there aren't other good nations in the world. There are. But for this job, you're the most suited for the job. And then it finishes off with very, very interesting. V'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim v'goy kodesh. By accepting the Torah, you'll be a nation of kohanim and a holy people. And Moshe Rabbeinu said, he had to say exactly these words. Eila ha'devarim asher tedaber b'nei Yisrael. Rashi says, lo pachos, not anything less, v'lo yoser, not any more. What does it mean, mamleches kohanim v'goy kodesh? What does it mean? What does it mean? Now, we know, amongst the Ummah Ha'olam, in the Middle Ages and in all the time gone by, which of their people were educated?
No one.
Only the Kohanim. The clergy. Right? The word clerk, which is able to read and write, is from the word clergy. They were the ones who could read and write. They were educated. So a priest was somebody, the Chatumim Mitzrayim, they could write the hieroglyphics. They were the ones who could read and write. The average guy was a complete Amorit. Complete Amorit. So here, the Torah is saying, V'atim tiyu mamleches kohanim means an educated nation. An educated nation, every single one. We've always been makpid to teach everyone how to read and how to write. From the age of 3 or 4, right? We work at it. We work at it. I was once sitting on a plane, coming back from Germany. I was coming back from Israel, the second leg through Germany, and a lady got on and she was limping. I was actually in the aisle seat and she actually had the middle seat. Ooh, yeah. So I said to her, would you like me to move to the middle seat so you can... And she was very grateful. She said, thank you very much. Hello. We got schmoozing, comes out. I wasn't sure she was Jewish or not. I couldn't get my hand on it. But in the middle she told me her mother was from Poland and her mother was in a concentration camp. And she said her brother got thrown off, her uncle got thrown off a train and was killed. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure because it sounded like she was a post-Catholic. It's only her mother, but you never know. It could have been hidden, and you just don't know.
I got a story. I was at the tram stop, and the hammer sits down, and I put them in, yeah. And I said to this random guy, "How are you, sir? How's your day going?" And then he said, and then he came up to me afterwards and was like, and then he answered, "Baruch Hashem." There's a Jew, cannot tell. Like a random old guy, and he only said Baruch Hashem because he saw my sit.
So he says it, right? So I said to her, no, she was asking me about reading and writing. She was a teacher of school. I think she's been a headmistress even. And she said very interesting things. She said, how do you learn to read and write Hebrew? So I said, well, we do it from a very young age. As we teach them English, he said, actually, even before English. They can read Hebrew and write Hebrew even before they can read English. We do the two together. So kids are very adaptable. They can pick it up very quickly. She was quite impressed by it, but it was very interesting the way she was questioning me. I couldn't. She didn't have a Goyish Gefühl. She didn't have it. I don't know.
She didn't have a Jewish or Goyish Gefühl.
I don't know. She came across. I don't know. I wasn't sure. Anyway, so Mamleches Kohanim means a kingdom of Kohanim. Goy Kodesh means a holy people keep the Torah, but Mamleches Kohanim means an educated nation. Now there's a famous joke, about. Some say Levi Eshkol said it. Some say Menachem Begin said it. He said, "I'm a president over 4 million presidents." Ani Nasi Rosh Memshala al 4 million Rosh Memshala. Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. Every year, he's got his shitters and his dayers, and he knows how to run the country better than anybody else. That's how you see it. All the taxi drivers, they're all mumchim and everything. From Aleph to Tov.
Why are they a taxi driver?
From Aleph to Tov, they're Bekim and everything. And they'll never back down. They'll never agree with your point of view. You can have your point of view, they'll never give in. That's why I go, because it's Mamleches Kohanim. That means every Yid is a leader, right? It says, Rashi says, Sorim. That's the nature of every Jew. It's the nature of a Jew to be a leader, because we've got a job in this world where we're supposed to inspire people to Emunah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to the moral, ethical behavior of the Torah. So the mice, it's true, we are a Mamleches Kohanim. That's what we are. We're a kingdom of leaders. That's why it's a hard thing to be the Rav of a shul or anything in Yiddishkeit, because everybody thinks they know better. Yeah? Everyone's got thinks he can run the system better, right? So it shows how the Gadlus of Moshe Rabbeinu, how he got the whole Klal Yisrael to accept the Torah, right? It shows how great Moshe Rabbeinu was, what an impact he had on us, that he got us all to accept it, lock, stock, and barrel, from beginning to end. Okay, we'll just finish off a little bit about the Avos Chesed. So he's talking about lending kalim. He said people don't lend out things for various excuses. He says some people are just so tight-fisted they just don't want to lend out. They don't want to lend out. Some people it's just laziness. So he says like this. He said, but the most important thing to lend out, he says, is Sfarim. He says Sfarim are the most important. I'll read it out to you. He says, lending out utensils or items. That's a favourite in this world. You borrow a hammer, you borrow a drill or something. If you lend somebody a sefer where you can learn from it, this is eternal. What he's going to get from this sefer is forever and ever. The zechus of that mitzvah is also going to be eternal. So Chazal say, what's pshat in the pasuk? A person's got wealth in his house. But his stocker lasts forever. How can stocker last forever, David? So Chazal says, Sfarim. Somebody writes Sfarim and Mashin Lacher lends them out. People donate Sfarim to a shul or a base of medrash. And people learn from it. That's the chus is forever and ever and ever. You facilitated that Torah learning. V'tovazehu b'chal ha'chazaka sa-Torah gamkein u'mekabel avul mitzvah ha'chazaka b'rocha me'es Hashem yisbarach k'mo she'omer Chazal. So we had tonight. Someone donated some chumashim to the shul. So he put the stamp of the shul in, but it's actually a big thing. The Maisa to donate it nishmas somebody. But the truth is, he might want the zechus for himself. He might want the zechus himself that he donated it. But actually, if a shul or a base of medrash is in need of sfarim, it's a phenomenal zikr rabbim. And it's Karen Kayemes because it can be used again and again and again and again and again. Some people, whenever they have a baby, they donate some sfarim to the base of medrash. Thank Kosh Baruch Hu. It's like a eternal thanks for being granted a child. They donate sfarim to shul or bossy medrash with a name in it. Right? There used to be a minig Yisrael apparently in a chumash at home. A person would write the names of all his children at the back of a chumash. It's an old minig. לכתוב בסוף החומש את השמות של כל הילדים, מתי נולדו, השם הקודש שלהם, at the back of a chumash. What's the idea? The idea is that your children, you're going to teach them the Torah, and they'll continue to keep the Torah long after the parent's gone. They'll continue the Derech HaTorah. So you wrote their names at the back of a chumash. That's the reason for it. So if anyone gets an opportunity, now we've got Rafi donated the speaker, and right, that's a chesed donated. All speakers are here. Yeah. Right, things like that. It's a wonderful zechus. It can be used again and again. The chevish mitzvah. It's like if a person can donate money to the what do you call it? To the what do you call it?
To the Nazis.
No. Once that'll get used once. If you donate a wheelchair or donate something of tachlis, that chesed will be used again and again and again and again and again. Sorry, I think it's run out. I think the plug might have come out. So, but that's the same Nikuda. It's the Koser Medas Lad. The act of stocker will again and again and again and again because it's got a tangible item which can be reused. Okay, guys, we'll carry on tomorrow night.
Oh, very nice.